Today's video is on NVDA and why I'm buying it even at the highs. Not only is NVIDIA a dominant player in the AI revolution, but it also serves another important purpose, which we'll discuss in a moment. Here are some things that NVIDIA does. As you can see by their website, they're at the heart of autonomous driving. They're powering the metaverse. They're obviously doing AI and powering AI. They call themselves the engine of AI. So this is an important thing we want exposure to in the portfolio. It's definitely a mega trend, and NVIDIA is at the heart of it. So NVIDIA just released, which is a covered call fund that tracks NVIDIA. And it has about a 50% dividend, we're thinking. We're not sure what the dividend will be, but if we're going by the implied volatility of NVIDIA, which is about 47, then the dividend should be somewhere around that range. Now, if we go into E-Trade and show you what I'm doing with NVIDIA, you'll see that it's going to contribute a lot to our yearly dividends. We earn over 100,000 a year in dividends. So if we buy 10,000 NVIDIA, that's going to go up to 5,000 more per year in dividends, because it has about a 50% dividend. Again, we don't know that number yet, but so it's going to be a significant contributor to our income. So let's go see how we can play it, because we don't just want to pile in an NVIDIA when NVIDIA is at the highs. As you can see at the chart of NVIDIA, when we go into NVIDIA, we see it's at the highs. 300 was the old high, so 282, it's very close to its old highs. So I would not be buying this thing aggressively now. I would just be nibbling. Well, me myself, I'm nibbling on it just so that I can kind of watch it and jab it and like a boxer and track it and keep my eye on it, keep it on my radar. And then when it starts falling, I'm going to add aggressively. I'm going to pyramid in 1,000 in now, but I'm going to add another 1,000 on a dip, and then 2,000, and then 4,000. And I'll show you how much I can add before it gets overweight in my portfolio and becomes too much of a risk. I'll show you that in 1 second. Quickly, I just want to show you my performance and value. We're up 20% for the year. The Dow's up 0.9, the S&P is up 7, and the NASDAQ is up 17. We're beating the indexes, as I always say, because I tie my investments to the indexes. And that's the real reason why I'm buying NVIDIA. Not only is it a dominant player in the AI revolution, but it gives me index correlation to increase my performance. So all these investments are tied to the indexes. Once again, Cornerstone 4-star fund, 20% dividend. See our videos on that if you want to learn more about Cornerstone. OARC, though, has Tesla in it. So Tesla is about it's a large percentage of the NASDAQ. It's 1% of the S&P and 3 to 5% of the NASDAQ. So this serves an important purpose for our performance, having OARC. Yes, it has a 30% dividend, but it also has technology. And again, Tesla is its largest holding. Well, NVIDIA will be the same for us. I want to show you on Zacks where NVIDIA falls on the allocation weighting. So here, and for the NASDAQ, NVIDIA is 5%. So that means on a $400,000 portfolio like I have roughly, that means I can put in 10% of that would be 40 grand. So I can put up to 20 grand in NVIDIA before it becomes risky and overweight in my portfolio. If we go to S&P, we'll see that NVIDIA represents 2%. So 2% would be more like 10 grand, 2.5%, 10 grand, because 10% on 400 grand is 40. So half of that, 5%, would be 20. So half of 5%, 2.5% would be 10. So this is what I am going to be allocating to NVIDIA is about between 5 to 10K. We'll see how it goes. We're going to trade the charts. We're going to watch the charts here because, again, we have to watch them closely. NVIDIA is at the highs. NVIDIA is at the highs, so NVIDIA should follow suit. Let's go look at where NVIDIA has its strike prices, because it's important to know how it's positioning its calls and puts. As you know, NVIDIA buys calls at the money and sells puts at the money to give it a replication of the stock price 1-for-1. So as you can see here, it has a put at 285, which is near where the current price is now, and a call at 285. They buy a call and sell a put to replicate the stock and get 1-for-1 stock movement, but they put the out of the money call, which they sold for the giant premiums, at 312. This gives us about a 10% move higher that we can expect from here and not have our upside capped. So from 312 to 285, that's about 9.5%. So again, this means that NVIDIA can move up about 10% from here, and we'll get to realize that price appreciation, because beyond that 10%, it will be capped. Our performance will be capped, as the shares will get called away, because this is a cover call fund. If you want more on how Yieldmax funds work, go see my past videos, because they're all very similar. How they sell a put at the money, buy a call at the money, and then sell the call out of the money so they can get that extra yield, but they cap that upside at where they sell the calls at. So let's summarize. Yes, it's at the heart of the AI revolution. Also, in the past video we made on NVIDIA, we showed the maintenance of NVIDIA, which is a 50% maintenance, and that's going to allow us to squeeze 50% more equity out of our position. So please go see our past video on maintenance on NVIDIA and see how I employ that trick to use my equity and measure it very closely so I can know how much I'm taking up of my available for withdrawal, so I can maximize my dividends. And if NVIDIA represents 5% of the NASDAQ, that means we can afford to buy a lot more of this fund before we're overweight. Now, how can we protect ourselves since NVIDIA's at the highs? Plus, it's not sporting a dividend right now. We don't want to own too much right now. A subscriber wrote that on the messages on our comments, and it was a very valuable point. I mean, I had 10K in Aptly, and I just reduced that back to 1,000 because I want to wait until the dividend is announced before I'm tying up 50% of my equity, because Aptly is also 50% maintenance. We're not talking expense ratios. We're talking about maintenance. For every 1,000 I buy of Aptly, $500 is taken up in equity. Same for NVIDIA. So I don't want to tie up too much equity without getting paid a dividend yet. So my margin debt is only 250. It was around 260, but I lightened up on Aptly. I can't wait to get more of Aptly, because as you know, in the spiders, Apple is almost 10%, it's 7%. And in the NASDAQ, Apple is over 10%. It's almost 12%. So I need more Aptly exposure, but it doesn't pay the dividend yet, and it's sucking up all my equity to do it. So I don't want to own too much Aptly. So I sold some for a profit. NVIDIA, I'm doing the same thing. I'm waiting till it falls before I get aggressive, because it's taking up too much equity to get aggressive now without the dividend. So I have the short NVDS as a small hedge, $500 on this short, just to protect myself, because we know NVIDIA is at the highest. So I'm buying 1,000 without a dividend right now, sucking up 50% of my equity, $500. So NVDS, I'm hedging with $500. This way, there's no risk in the position. And especially once the dividend kicks in, there would be no risk, because the dividend will cash flow the position over time, even if the position's falling and falling, kind of like our OARC position up here up top. OARC, as you can see here, we're down 3%. I don't care, because the dividend's 30, so that means we're up 20%, 27% for the year. So we're up for the year if we hold this for a year. But if you hold it for 3 years, 30% times 3 years is 90%. You're almost paid back in a little over 3 years. NVIDIA, if it's a 50% dividend and it holds, then the dividend should pay you back in less than 2 years, in about 2 years. The dividends will probably get cut as the stock falls. That's what we've been seeing in Tesla, and that's that is what we have been seeing in Aptly and Tesla and OARC. So NVIDIA should be no different, but I still need it because it represents the indexes, a large part of the indexes, and that's what I buy to get my performance, which is, again, beating the S&P year to date. Also, when these dividends kick in from Aptly and NVIDIA, you're going to see this estimated income number jump significantly, because I'm going to buy 5 to 10K of each of those, as you saw by the allocations and the Qs and the SPY. I can afford to bring up my allocations in those. So if I bought 10K of each, 10K of NVIDIA would be 5K, 10K of Aptly, we're thinking it's 20% dividend, so that's 2K. So you could see my income jump up to 125,000 by the time those dividends kick in. And our available for withdrawal would drop to about, let's say, if I bought 20K of both NVIDIA and Aptly, that would lose me 10K in available for withdrawal. So I would be at 1050 if we'll draw. Plenty of cushion before a margin call. When this number hits 0, we're at a margin call. If you have any questions on e-guides, please email me at aikentop48@gmail.com. I have e-guides on margin and cornerstone. I'm almost finished with the cornerstone e-guide. So if you buy all 3 e-guides, including my margin, then I'll send you the cornerstone e-guide for free. Email me for that. Also, I want to say one more thing about these Yieldmax funds. I use them to replicate the indexes, yes, and to get exposure on the AI revolution, but I also simply do it just to earn more dividends, which acts as qualifying income to banks for loans. This is how you live a financially free lifestyle. You simply buy all these high yielding dividend funds that may be risky, but the banks don't know that these are risky names. That all they see is your monthly income each month, and if you can keep your monthly income growing steadily each month, then you're going to get more loan abilities. They're gonna see that you earn more like you do at a job, because dividends act as a paycheck, as a pay stub to banks, and this will allow you to qualify for more loans so that you don't need to work a job if you don't want to, or you can keep working your job and just get much further ahead than most people, including myself. If you use your job plus dividends plus a little margin to get more dividends, this gives you qualifying income, which allows you to quit your job if you need to, or to finance a house or do whatever you need in life, and make things a little easier on yourself, because 70% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. Even with a job, they need a little help, and that's where I think dividends come in and a brokerage account comes in, because you can control your finances in a brokerage. You can't control it in a 401k or IRA, because you get penalties for withdrawal. In a brokerage account, I get to spend and do whatever I want. Even though I'm in $250,000 in debt, I get to go travel the world, do whatever I want, and spend out of this number, and I just spend out of my dividends so I don't cut it too close. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video on NVDA. I'm waiting in small. I'm going to pyramid in on the dips because we're at the highs, and I'm using my short NVDS to cover the downside for now. I'll increase my exposure to that short as we increase our exposure in NVDA on the dip. So anyway, I could say more. I'm going to leave it here before I lose your attention. Email me again if you need help with those e-guides. Leave comments in the section below if you believe NVDA is a good buy right here, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.